One. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host for today, but I guess I'll be having help from Krol for this particular film, as this film was the sixth film in the Star Wars franchise, but it is the third episode of the series. It is called Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith. It was filmed in 2005 and it was directed by George Lucas, also written by him, I believe. So the basic story of this particular film is we've got the Jedi going up against the separatists, so as they called, and basically this is like Vader's descent into darkness. How he gets brought over by Palpatine, and kind of like a little bit of the fall of the Jedi, basically. So why don't we go with first impressions? I'll start with you, Krol, since this is your favorite of the Star Wars franchise.
Well, I originally saw this right when it was out of theaters on DVD, actually. um, I immediately loved it. It was just spectacular right from the get go. You know, they start off with an awesome ship battle. Much like the first one, it was a ship battle, but unlike the first one, it was a massive battle instead of just two big cruisers. Um, so it was great action right from the beginning, and then all the lightsaber scenes were just top notch. It was just absolutely great. It there's definitely parts of it where I'm just like, why did this happen? And definitely there's parts where I wonder how Anakin didn't kind of figure out that he was the Sith Lord before he did. There was definitely lots of hints throughout that something ain't right. So um, yeah, I guess because it was his friend, he was just blind to it. I don't know. Jedi is supposed to be more perceptive though. So, but of course, story. So, um, but anyways, still absolutely love this one. I mean, any Star Wars movie you can nitpick something and but you just gotta enjoy it because it's freaking awesome. And I was 2005. I was what 22, 20 no, yeah 22 when I saw it. So definitely an adult. And a lot of people didn't like the prequels, but I did, and especially this one. Like I said, Return of the Jedi was my favorite until this one, and just the duels are what basically tipped it over. And I've been waiting for one of the duels, all my life. Vader and Kenobi, that famous fight that Kenobi beats him and thinks he kills him. So
Okay,
that's my first impression. Tammy?
alrighty. Tammy, why don't you tell me when was your first time seeing this film? Did you see this film in the theaters, or what was your first thoughts on this film the first time you saw it? And now that you've seen it again, what are your thoughts on it now?
I don't think I saw it in the theater. I'm not very sure the first time I saw it. I mean, I know I've seen it a few times since we've been together, but I'm not sure when the first time I saw it. But I thought it was neat. I just like Krol said, I thought that Anakin would realize that he's like being, used because he was, a Jedi, but I guess he didn't, and he just, continued to be coerced into, you know, going to the dark side, and the whole thing was what was basically coercing him was the promise of that he would be able to keep people safe that he loved. And I think that
Mhm.
was the big thing, that he was focusing more on that than anything else, which instead of the big picture, so he lost sight. And it's like being a Jedi, though, you thought he would have looked up more at the big picture because that's how he was trained.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
this is why they not supposed to have attachments because they prioritize their attachment over everybody. They're supposed to be the greater good, whatever that means. Um, so they're not supposed to have attachments.
And let
Um,
me just state that in 1999, that was when The Phantom Menace was released, and that was the first episode of this franchise. That's where we get his childhood and how he was brought to be in contact with the Jedi. Um, and then you have episode two, um, which that I believe was in 2001. That film came out, where that one was when we first see him as a teenager, and we see that he's got a lot of anger issues, and a lot of disobedience things going on, even though he's a Jedi. And in this particular one, we get an Anakin that seems to be a little bit more experienced. Um, his hair is definitely a little better. um, I guess to me, I feel like the curls are like a telling sign of his experience. You know what I mean? But I actually did see this in the theaters. I'm not exactly sure with whom, but I remember seeing it, and I had more of a negative view on it at first, because I really thought that it rushed the whole downfall of Vader. But that being said,
it could have been longer, definitely. I mean, I was watching yesterday, going, "Wait, I'm already at this part already." Like it always feels like it's longer than it is, and it definitely could have been longer. It definitely would have been
well, I feel
better
like
longer, but
they rushed the story of Vader to us in these three movies. Like it definitely could have been more of an episodal thing, like they're doing with the Mandalorian thing at this moment.
yeah.
Uh, but that being said, going backwards, see, we ended up watching the first three, and going backwards and watching these three um uh, a week ago. We did a whole Star Wars thing, and
Well, we
seeing
only
it.
saw the first Star Wars. We only reviewed the first Star Wars, but yeah.
Yeah, we only reviewed the first one, but I ended up doing a marathon just to prepare me for this, just because I hadn't seen them in, in, in quite some time.
I'm gonna do a marathon next month when I buy the whole collection. They actually have the whole collection. You can buy the whole collection now of all 11 movies, or not the 9 Skywalker, and then get the other 2. So if you don't have it, folks, get out there and get it. DVD, Blu-ray, definitely well worth it. And prices are not that bad, not bad at all. You can get around $60 for the DVD and a little more for the Blu-ray, but that's dirt cheap. I paid a lot more than that just for my Blu-ray of the 6 movies. So to get 9 movies at that price is a really good deal.
Well, I had up until The Last Jedi, and then I found that Target exclusive Blu-ray DVD combo thing of The Last Jedi, and found The Rise of Skywalker for relatively cheap. So Tammy ended up getting me whatever I didn't have for St. Nick's just recently. So thank you.
Yeah, that's why I looked it up, because when you said that, I'm like, oh, I thought they weren't doing that anymore because Disney bought it, and Disney don't typically ever make collections.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked it up, and I'm like, oh wow, they still have a bunch of collections of Star Wars, and now they have all of them. So even with Disney buying it, I was very happy because I know a few other people that said they would love to buy a whole collection if they ever had it, and they do. So if you weren't looking because it was Disney, go look. It's there.
So I guess I'm neutral on this film. It's not exactly my favorite of the series. I would have to say that my favorite 2 are Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. But I do like that they did go backwards and try to explain how Vader got to where he got. And I did like the world building that was done in the first 3 episodes, and including this one. And I do like the moments of Palpatine where he's sitting down with Anakin, and
manipulating him.
He's basically talking to him like he's a friend,
Instead of his puppet.
And I did, yeah. In fact, I didn't see. That's the thing. In the original Star Wars movie, you don't find out that he's a little bitch until until at least the end of Empire Strikes Back. You don't really find that out. So when you first see Star Wars, Darth Vader is the Empire. He is
the big villain,
guiding force, the huge villain. And then all of a sudden you realize that
he was just the enforcer, and Palpatine is the mastermind behind everything. So, yeah. And you don't even realize how much of a mastermind he is until you watch the prequels, and it's like, wow, he's been manipulating things from at least being a senator, and I'm sure they manipulated things to become a senator in the first place. So he's been doing of Naboo. So he's been doing it, his entire life. Where after he killed his Sith master, up until he's killed, and then comes back later. But that's the sequels. But that's another thing.
So let's go. So let's go into how this movie begins. So apparently there is a battle going on between the Jedi and the Separatist Party above the planet of Coruscant, because the Supreme Chancellor Palpatine has been kidnapped by General Grievous, who is this like cyborg Separatist commander. Apparently he's the commander of the droid army.
Call him a droid. He loves it. Side note, he hates being called a droid.
And we get this beginning scenery with all these like buzz bots and shit, which is kind of cute. I actually thought, um, where these like bots just end up going on Obi-Wan Kenobi's X fighter, or I'm not even sure it's an X fighter. See, one of the things that Tammy and I pretty much noticed is that even though these are the prequels, everything down to the lightsabers looks like brand spanking new, and to me, all the technology is more advanced in these prequels than they are in the original three.
My thought is everything is new because it was just newly made. Like the ships were newly made. I mean, it was a different time. It was a prosperous time. We don't have the Empire, bringing everything down. We have the Republic, and everything's good up until when the Separatists stopped messing with things. But everything's made newer, and that's why it looks newer. I know a lot of people have the same issue, but that's how I look at it, and I think that's how it was intended. That
I can look at it as that, but I can also see that designs of ships were seem like they were better designed than they were originally designed. You
yeah.
know what I mean? You know
Well,
what I mean?
again,
And and
except for the Empire has awesome ships, and they always have. The Rebellion, you got to remember, they got ships wherever they could get ships, and yeah, they got a bunch of X-wings, but they got them wherever they could get them. They didn't have a shipyard. They couldn't build ships. Like, so whatever ships they eventually started being able to build ships, but it's like, they got what they got. So they didn't get shiny new ships. They didn't have anything really to like I said, they didn't have a shipyard. They couldn't just build their ships and stuff. It wasn't like they were just a huge army. They're a rebellion. So
and I wish I knew the names of the different ships to actually explain to people what they were flying in, but
well,
unfortunately,
you got the Naboo cruiser, which is
okay,
Padme's ship.
okay.
Then you have Anakin's ETA one. That's the type of ship that Anakin was flying in, and Obi-Wan. So all the ships that the Jedi were flying were the ETAs.
I know Tammy really liked R2 in here,
Oh yeah, R
especially
two
in
is
these in this whole beginning scenes with the battle with the bots, and when
yeah.
they get onto the ship that the Chancellor has been kidnapped
R4
on.
gets his ass kicked. His head gets popped off, and shit doesn't do a thing. And R2,
Well,
the droid jumps right onto the ship, and R2 just like zaps it, and then like hit him in the center, and he's like right in the center, and the thing's gone. So yeah, R2's badass. I absolutely love how they made R2 even
Tammy,
more badass.
Tammy, you got into R2 whenever he screamed, didn't you?
Yes.
So, what was your favorite moment in here when he
Yeah.
screamed?
It sounded so funny. And he'd go, "Ee," he'd make that noise, and it's it's a computerized noise, but it almost sounded like he was screaming.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he may be a
Like
robot,
that one
but you
when
can.
he came out of the
Go ahead.
I like that one scene when he comes flying out of the thing. They said R2 will be here at any moment. This is after they're waiting for him to get there, and they've got the Chancellor and everything. He'll be here at any
Yeah,
minute. All of a sudden, he comes flying out of the door, and he's screeching.
yeah, as if he's running for his life, and then you realize,
That was
oh, he
funny.
is. I love how all the separatist droids are surrounding them.
Yeah, because the
And
other ones were probably.
R2 still zaps one of them, and then
Well-
they kick him over. Like he's defiant. Like if you look like in Return of the Jedi, I mean, well, back in the original Star Wars, he didn't want to be captured, and then he tries to move away when people being sold. He's always defiant. He's always fighting back. He's you just can't keep him down. I mean, unfortunately, he's a domed robot, droid, so he's limited, but he definitely had a lot more surprises than you originally realized, especially later on when he's fighting the 2B2 super droids, and he throws the oil down and then he burns it. I play a game that utilizes that skill. It's really fun, but it first time when I saw that, I was like, oh, that is fucking awesome. I was just so excited. I've always loved R2. And the fact that they made him way badass was definitely my favorite part. Was another favorite part of this film.
Well, and also we'll get to that part too. But Star Wars is very political, especially in different aspects of the film. So. One of the things that happens after this kidnapping, and we'll come back to talking about the kidnapping too, because the kidnapping is important. But after getting kidnapped and rescued, that helps with Anakin, because the Chancellor then puts him on the Council of the Jedi, which puts him in a position where the Jedi can actually
you're kind of skipping
use
over
him against Palpatine.
You're kind of skipping over a whole big part.
I am, but I figured we'd come back to that.
Oh, okay.
The only reason why I brought that up is because eventually the Jedi end up asking him and putting him in a hard place to do something that a Jedi would never do.
The thing is, okay, so the Jedi do that, and he flips out. He gets all mad, blah, blah, blah. Then Palpatine turns around and asks him to do the same thing, and he's okay with it. He doesn't even get upset. Why is he more care about his friendship with Palpatine than the Jedi Order, where he's sworn to be a Jedi, and the Jedi make him upset, but Palpatine doesn't? That definitely did not make sense to me, and like I said, I mean, I love the movie, but
Anakin had already been brainwashed since the first episode. With
I mean, I get it, but still, it's like,
some people can be
I
so
know
brainwashed.
Anakin's never been a great thinker, but still, he's not stupid, So it's just, I guess it's just blind because of his friendship, but. Yeah, I mean, anyone else can clearly see it.
I think he was one of them people. I think he was one of them people that the more you can get, the more you can get, the more power you can get, the more this you can get. If you do this, he was one of those that he wanted more, and he wanted more, and he wanted
Jedi
more, and he wanted to be the best of this, the best of that. And
Jedi
that's
is
what
not supposed to seek power, but yeah, he was definitely power hungry.
But I think that's what. Right, I think that's what drew him into all this, is because some people just, they're not happy, with, okay, you've achieved this. This is wonderful. This is great. And then
he wants
even
more.
though that there's more out there, they're happy with this. He wanted the more that was out there.
Like little late when he says to Obi-Wan, he's like, I didn't ask for this. And he's like, nevertheless, it's what you wanted. He knew that he wanted to be on the council and of course be a master.
Let's go backwards and go to the back to the kidnapping. So, they eventually arrive to the ship, which it took them a little time to do so because they were fighting those bots and whatnot. When they finally got on the ship, um, they had to bypass some of the robots that were on the ship,
Droids.
droids, and Obi-Wan and Anakin ended up going in the elevator, and I believe it was R2D2 who had to go and um, figure out how to work the elevator for them.
Oh, he knew how to do that. The issue was there was two super battle droids there, so he was trying to hide from them. And Obi-Wan is talking to him, and he hides back, and he ends up hiding the comm link, so they don't
Yeah, he
notice.
knew how to work it. It's just
And
they
then
were
they
calling Obi
they
was calling him over that thing.
yeah yeah, and then they finally saw him, so he
Yeah,
was
he
like,
was calling him over that, and then the other robot heard him talking.
"It's super battle droids, V2 super battle droid."
Yeah, and R2's trying to hide and trying to make it muffle it and everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, to be honest, those battle droids kind of reminded me of the robots in what
Battlestar
was it,
Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
They so much reminded me of
yeah,
those.
they definitely had a big resemblance to the original Cylons. I definitely noticed that. Um, but yeah, I liked it. I mean, the B2 Super Battle Droids are really cool. I love the B ones because the B ones are just funny. You know, those are the regular droids that they have the thousands of, and they have a personality. They're always like, Jedi or whatever. It's even better in the Clone Wars TV show, but even in the movies, they make me laugh. Much more than that other being that we won't mention. So yeah, but we have the droidicas. Droidicas are awesome too. Those are the ones with the shields. Um, those are obviously a lot tougher for a Jedi to fight. You guys still here? Oh, looks like it's just me and myself in here. Anyways, yeah, they have some awesome droids. Like I said, they got the B ones, the B2 super battle droids. You have the droidicas. They're all on this ship. Um, you don't see the droidicas till after the elevator scene. Hopefully they'll be right back, folks. I guess they lost their rotor, need to reset their rotor or something. But yeah, this is like I said, my favorite. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a little bit of holes. You know, like I said, Anakin. I think he would have like, especially when Palpatine was telling him about his old master. Well, I mean, he didn't say it was his old master, Plagueis. You figure that out later that Plagueis is his master and he's the one that killed him. He would. He's like a Sith story, and he's like, not from a Sith you learn, and it's just kind of like, well, how do you, he even questioned like, how do you know the story? Like, Sith stories are not just easily known by people. They're even less known than Jedi ones. They're definitely more of a very secret society, especially with a rule of two. There's only two of them, master and apprentice. So you don't get to know much about them. They don't. It's not like they talk about themselves or advertise. They work in secrets. Especially Palpatine works behind the scenes. He has for decades. Like I said, I don't know when he started, but he became a senator. So I don't know if that's where he started politically. I haven't read anything on him directly, so I don't know exactly his backstory before that, except for Plagueis was his master. I have heard part of an audiobook of the book Plagueis. I haven't never did finish the rest of it. I'm not a fan of the audiobook. I'll have to read the book itself. But yeah, it definitely you see how manipulative it is, and he is charming. Obviously not so much when he's the actual emperor because he doesn't need to be. But before that, as a senator, he's so charming, makes it sound like he's on your side, and and yeah, they know he's a politician, and even though Padme is. Padme never really uses anybody. She's actually one of those politicians that are not like most politicians. She cares. She doesn't lie. She's honest. She's basically not a politician, even though she was a queen and then a senator. But yeah, she's definitely one of those rare gems where she just really cares about the people, not about her own ambitions or power at all. That's probably why Annie fell in love with her in the first place. Right from the beginning. Of course, he thinks she's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. Thinks she's an angel when he first sees her. So that that's pretty awesome right there. It was like definitely love at first sight for Anakin. You think, oh, he's a little boy, you got a little crush, and yeah, he did, but it grew. It grew, and I get that. Similar thing happened to me. Met a girl when I was 7. She was 8, and had a crush on her, and it lasted for a long time, long through my adulthood. We were friends for a long time too. Never dated, but yeah, feelings are still there. So I totally get it that it can happen. It's rare, but yeah. I definitely understand him wanting to keep her safe. And those dreams, which I believe those dreams were not a forced thing. I believe that Palpatine was creating those dreams. Some forced manipulation. I'm guessing. Speaking of forced manipulation, they never really mention about his father, Anakin's father. I've always had the theory that Palpatine is the one that manipulated the midichlorians to have him created in the first place, basically being his father. They've never actually said that anywhere, and as far as I know, they've never done anything on mentioning like what exactly caused her to get pregnant with him and have him. What manipulated it. I'm and like I said, my theory is Palpatine. Like I said, he's a master manipulator, and yeah. Okay, they're sending me a message to check and see what's going on, and I'll be right back. Okay, they're still trying to get back in. Hopefully, we'll be able to resume with all of us very shortly. Sorry for that, folks. I'm checking now, see what they say. They're messaging me. So this internet is back on. Or unless they're using the phone Wi-Fi, yeah. That's probably what they're doing. Technology these days, huh? Internet, regular internet, got Wi-Fi. I'm a little older, so, I've always loved technology. Always. Which is probably why I love Star Wars so much. It's very technological based. Obviously the Force isn't, but that's magic based. Basically the same as magic. And I've always loved magic as well. Force and magic and technology. So, Star Wars has it all. Of course, they also have comedy and love and romance and anger and violence. Not really. It doesn't really have the swears unless Count Archu. Everything he says is bleeps. But like I've always said, even though he's a droid and making noises, the way they do the noises is perfect. You can tell what he's saying or what he's I mean, you can't maybe exact phrases, but you can tell. You can communicate very well. When he's hurt or when he's upset or when he's sad. Um, it's definitely they convey it so perfectly. They use like that's why R2 is one of my favorite characters. C-3PO is a favorite too. Obviously he detox and you can't get him to shut up, which I think I share with him. As you guys may have noticed, I talk a lot, especially when it's something like this Star Wars, like any of the Star Wars movies. I'm nonstop. And at the moment, I'm talking because, well, I'm only talking to you guys because, there's no one else here. We're waiting for them to come back. So I'm just sitting here talking to myself and feeling a little foolish, but the show must go on. And the show will go on. And hopefully they'll be getting back soon. So I'm not sitting here talking to myself. I wonder how many of you folks love this Revenge of the Sith as much as me? It tends to, people younger tend to like it more. People close to my age that saw the originals don't like the prequels as much. Now people are coming around, or it's been a while they've come around. We're like, oh, we love the prequels. But I remember a time where everyone hated them, and you know, and yeah, then the sequels come out, and they're the new prequels where everyone hates the sequels. I didn't hate them. I really enjoyed watching each one when I saw them. Um, Revenge. I'm sorry. The Last Jedi is definitely one where the more I watch it, the less I like it. Which is the opposite of most movies, and especially Star Wars movies. It's just the way. I mean, as a movie goes, it was okay. It was a good movie, but it's Star Wars. Star Wars should be at least great and above. Star Wars has a higher threshold. Even I don't like to hold anything on a pedestal. For Star Wars, I do and always have and always will. And I love all Star Wars, but there's definitely lots that they could have done differently. I mean, the whole thing with Luke. I mean, it was funny at first when he threw the lightsaber. I laughed, but it led to more of him being like a grumpy old man, which I guess he was closer to. I mean, old Ben wasn't a grumpy old man, but he was definitely a recluse and solitude, just like Yoda. But that's not Luke. Luke is action. Luke is on the front lines. I mean, it does not fit his character. So originally, I was like, oh well, they're just doing him like old Ben and Yoda, and yes, but that's not Luke. And Luke is my favorite character, so I just wanted to love it because it's Star Wars, and I wanted to love Luke, because he's my favorite character. But yeah, they definitely took him out of character for this, um, and so and the fact that they killed him by just because he was doing a force projection seems ridiculous to me. Even if he'd been cut off from the force, which I don't know how I mean, I know you can shut off your connections to the Force. I've read about it. Others doing it. His son did it in the EU, in the old legends. Um, so you can do it, but excuse me, I need a drink. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, just need to wet the whistle. I was talking. Yeah. I mean, what was I saying? Yeah. Like I said, Luke's my favorite character. Some people thought of him as whiny, in the original trilogy, which I guess it was at times. And it's funny they say the same thing. Well, Anakin's father, so it runs in the family. But Luke was definitely better than his father in that he wasn't manipulated. Oh, they're back! Yay! I guess somebody else can talk.
Yeah, give me a second.
I heard everything
Sorry.
you were saying though about R2, because even though we weren't back up, I could hear you. And I love R2 and his little noises and his like you said, you could tell when he's and he does that little and the like I said when he's like what we would like humans would normally go you could tell he's doing a
Yeah, yeah. You can tell his emotions. You
I
can tell
know.
when he's upset. You can tell when he's sad. You can
He
tell.
makes me laugh though when he does like I said that particular scene when he come flying out and he's like
Oh yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
stop. He he makes things amusing at times because you can tell, like you said, by his noises. You know, he's one of my favorites too.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Um, we had a little bit, a bit of a audio, whatever. But where were we? We were. There he is.
Okay.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
So I guess it was my turn, but luckily it wasn't. That was just StreamYard, I guess, because my internet didn't go down. Nothing went down. I was talking. I was going, poof. I'm like, all
All right.
right.
So where were we when we got
Oh, I don't know. I've been
line?
talking. I've been talking this whole time, basically to myself, just so people don't have nothing to listen, had something to listen to.
I appreciate that. I had
And
I had
I was
to.
then
rambling.
I could hear you before David put me back up on the thing, but like when you're in the
Yeah,
background, I could hear you and hear what you were talking about. So
yeah, yeah. I
that's
did
why
have
I
to
came in
stop for
above.
a. I did have to stop for a minute to get a drink because all of a sudden my mouth was so dry. I'm like, whoa, hold on, guys. I need a sip of drink.
But that
So
was great
based,
though. You kept it going.
Yep,
Appreciate
yep.
that.
Kept it going by myself. So,
unfortunately, you may have to do that for time because sometimes the
well,
connection isn't the greatest.
if it's Star Wars, I can do it. Other movies, I mean, depending on the movie, I mean, something like Wizard of Oz, I could do it. There's definitely movies I can keep going. But some movies, yeah, I would definitely have an issue with, you
Okay,
know.
so I'm gonna go back to the elevator scene where um, R2 finally um, gets the elevator going, but he gets it going in the wrong direction. Um,
Well,
uh,
you forgot the part where Anakin actually, he doesn't want to sit still, so cuts a hole in the top and he jumps up, and Obi-Wan's like always on the move, like no
mhm.
patience, just always action, 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 and Kenobi's just sitting there waiting for R2 in the elevator, um, and and then like you said, he gets it going, so the wrong direction.
And he gets it going quite extremely too because he goes down and
Yeah, really
he's like,
fast, really fast.
"Whoa!" And then he gets it going the right direction. He's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, and of course, two battle droids had showed up to mess with Anakin, and well, he's dangling on the side because all of a sudden the elevator went whoosh, and he was standing on it. So yeah,
Well, and ultimately, they find themselves in the room that Emperor Palpatine Chancellor Palpatine. He eventually becomes the Emperor, but in any case, he is evidently like locked in this chair, and Count Dooku comes along, and they, well, Ben Kenobi, he starts to fight him. He gets knocked unconscious, and
Well,
then
they both were fighting at the same time.
well, yeah, true. They were fighting them both at the same time. It's just Kenobi was knocked unconscious, and then it
You
was
missed my
down
favorite
to
line. You missed one of my favorite lines.
which
When Anakin says, "You know, I've grown in power since we last met," and Dooku says, "Good, you know, double the what do you say? Double the power, double the fall, or something like that." My favorite lines.
and if I remember correctly, Christopher Lee at that same time was also really big as an actor, especially since he played Lord Sauron in Lord of the Rings
plus he
at
played
the same time.
He played Dracula years ago. I mean, Christopher Lee is an absolute great actor, absolutely awesome actor. You know, and he played Dooku perfectly.
I did like him as Dooku. It fit for that particular role. But in any case, what do y'all think about what happens to Count Dooku?
I was a little surprised. Like, I don't know, if I was completely betrayed by my master, I wouldn't just have that look of what the hell that he had. I mean, that was a great look, but I would have been like, I would have ratted him out. Like, what do you mean? You're my master or something, you know? Obviously that would have been a twist on the storytelling, but you know, the fact that he still remained quiet, even though he was shocked that he was being killed, he still remained loyal, which seemed a little weird to me. You know, because their loyalty only lasts so long as they have power, usually. You know, that's why it's well known that the apprentice ends up, you know, trying to kill the master.
Well, and we learn here that the Chancellor actually knows about what he did to the Sand People, to his mother. In the previous film, I don't think we learned that the Chancellor actually knew that. It's right here when he gets rescued here that he says, "Well, remember what you told me about what you did with the Sand People and your mother." You know,
I killed them all, not just the men, the women, and the children. He loves killing younglings. What can I say?
Which comes up later on because he ends up going and killing the younglings in the Jedi Temple later on, but we'll get to that. So after he decapitates Count Dooku, that is when he picks up Ben Kenobi, and they're in the elevator shaft when suddenly Kenobi wakes up, and that's when they end up in that hallway where suddenly Grievous and the people under him realize that they're in the ship and that they're in the corridor, and they're like, send that whatever after them. So
the droidicas.
Yeah.
They put a ray shield over them first, and that's when Anakin's like, "I recommend patience," and Obi-Wan looks at him like, "You," you know? And he's like, "Well, Archie will be around." Like we already said, Archie will be around in a minute, and then we see him shrieking through, and as he's being chased for his life, and looking, yes, he is, and then the B2 battle droids show up, and the B1 show up, and with the droidicas, and basically they're all captured, and go ahead.
Well, and ultimately, yeah, they're brought before Grievous, and
We have a little a great dialogue between the two. It's like Anakin, the great Anakin Skywalker. I expect you to be older, and then Anakin comes back with General Grievous with your reputation. I expect you to be taller, and he's already huge. He's a hulking beast, and and he comes back with that. It's definitely pretty funny. And then Obi-Wan's like, let's not piss off the giant robot. Basically.
I don't like that dude. He's ugly.
Oh, you're talking about Grievous?
Yeah.
Well, Grievous wasn't always a droid. He's only partial droid, because he was a warrior that basically was like Vader, and basically almost completely killed. So they put what was left of him into a droid. So that's why you see
basically
him.
the soul of someone else inside this robot.
Yeah, so that's why he hates being called a droid and stuff. Even though he's like 95% droid.
What's
that's
interesting?
Why he's coughing and everything else too, because
he's actually an alien that was put into the droid. Kind of like Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and he has basically
well, yeah,
mechanical parts. So.
Yeah, ultimately, that's what eventually Vader becomes, because his body gets burned beyond belief later on. So,
but honestly, Vader is menacing as hell, but Grievous looks cooler. I mean, he's got all those extra arms and stuff, and you realize that he knows how to use lightsabers and stuff. So it's like, holy shit! Not only
he's
is he
creepy and ugly,
big badass thing, but he also can use lightsabers. So that's scary.
In a way, he kind of reminds me of like that creature that's in what was it, Clash of the Titans? No, it was in one of the Sinbad movies, like a Gorgo looking creature, like from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely got. I mean, it's all the extra arms, and I actually think he uses his way better than that creature from Mortal Kombat did. So, yeah.
Although Ben Kenobi could easily take those arms off, to be honest.
Well, he beats him I mean, he disarms them. He disarms the lightsabers eventually when they do. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Despite having all those arms and all those lightsabers and all the proficiency into sword fighting, you see here how good.
In any case, they ultimately do a Jedi mind trick to get their lightsabers back, and they're back in action.
It's not a mind trick. Sorry, it's forced telekinesis. The mind trick is when you get someone to do something they normally wouldn't do.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, so ultimately it was the telekinesis that the Jedi are able to do in order to get at least one of their lightsabers back, and ultimately Anakin got his back, and they started fighting, and
they both got theirs.
They both got their lightsabers back, and started fighting here, and ultimately Grievous escapes, and they go back with the Emperor, and this is when
they escape with flying the ship.
Yeah, they have to fly.
Yeah.
Well, like Anakin said, the ability to fly the ship is irrelevant because they're basically crashing in this big hulking half a ship. And Anakin does a supreme job. I mean, he's one of the best pilots ever. Only maybe matched by his son, but yeah. So he lands it safely, and
Now, do they land it where they on a planet, or do they land it like on where the Jedi are? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, they landed on Coruscant.
Okay,
You know, uh, on basically like a landing pad, basically where they should land. And
that's what I thought.
they did have escorts coming in, but it was still they're flying
Because
half the ship. So.
that's where we first see Jar Jar Binks in amongst the people there, which he doesn't show up that often
You know
in
what?
this.
I didn't even notice him there.
I
And
did. I like him.
I'm glad because he fucking sucks and he's the worst character
See,
ever in the world.
I don't think
Now,
so.
I
I,
like him.
no, he sucks donkey dick. I mean, Jar Jar is the worst thing to come to Star Wars ever.
I
And
disagree with you,
and
but
and
to each
I
their own.
told George Lucas's son this when I talked to him on the phone, and basically said how much I love Star Wars, but I hate Jar Jar. Jar Jar is the only thing I liked with Jar Jar in it was when he gets his tongue stuck in Phantom Menace and he can't talk. I'm
So
like, good, keep
you
it that
talked
way.
with George Lucas's son?
Yes, I did. I was working at hotel reservations, and he called up to make a reservation at St. John Virgin Islands for a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through all the booking and everything, and I asked the name, and he says George Lucas, and then I'm like, George Lucas? He goes, Junior, and I'm like, you're his son, and he's like, yes, and you're not supposed to talk to customers more than just doing your job. I
Mm-hmm.
broke the rules. I talked to him for like an hour, and I didn't care. He fired me. I'm talking to the son of my idol, which he was my idol. So, yeah. But I told him I was honest, and I said, I absolutely love Star Wars, but what was he think with Jar Jar? And his son agrees with you guys. He likes Jar Jar, and obviously, his father George Lucas likes Jar Jar. But yeah, I absolutely hate Jar Jar. Absolutely hate Jar Jar. I don't mind Gungans. I have no problem with Gungans. But Jar Jar, I just absolutely hate him. He's so annoying, so over the top. I mean, I
I
get what they were
see.
trying to do with him, but yeah,
See
I
me, yeah, he got a little annoying, to me,
that's like
when
saying the devil's a little bad.
it wasn't bad and it wasn't good for me. I mean, the parts that I enjoyed was when he got his tongue fucking.
Well, yes, I agree. I do like that because then the asshole couldn't talk, and that was the most annoying thing about him is just his voice, his talking, and his stupidity, and it's just like I said, I absolutely hate the character. So, yeah, I don't have anything nice to say about him except that it was great when he couldn't talk. And I wish they kept him that way, but unfortunately they didn't. I'm glad that they decided not to utilize him too much, and he was used very important in the second movie, but not a lot, and even less in the third movie. So I'm very pleased about that.
I think he served his use as the ambassador to Queen Amidala and having to speak with her within Senate meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's the one that passed the Clone Wars. She using clones in the first place, which she was against, and he knew that. Yet he was manipulated to think that she would go against all her principles, which again, it's like, okay, you've known Padme for quite a long time now. I mean, it's been like 10 years he's known her, and he doesn't know that she wouldn't pass it. That was just stupid.
Well, Jar Jar Binks was never that smart to begin with.
I mean, I get that, but Jesus Christ, 10 goddamn years, you even a dumb dog would fucking would know better than that. You know, I don't like dogs either. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you what though, I like dogs better than Jar Jar, and that's saying a lot.
But in any case, so ultimately, the chancellor then does recommend him to be on the Jedi Council, and this is basically what happens is that Yoda ends up getting sent to help the Wookiees defend their planet or whatever.
Well, you forgot the part where they put him on the council, but they didn't make him a master, which
Correct.
definitely
And he had
pisses
a
him
problem
off.
with that.
He definitely says this is an outrage. This is ridiculous. It's unfair, and he's basically throwing a tantrum. And he's much older now. Definitely too old for a tantrum, but he basically throws a tantrum. And
He throws a tantrum in front of the Jedi Council.
yeah,
Because he was like, this is totally disrespectful.
This is unfair, and
this
is unfair, and when, and I definitely agree with some people that he was whiny at times, but I don't think it was out of character. I mean, I think that's just the way Anakin's been. He's definitely very emotional, and he's not supposed to be.
Well, he grew up without his mother. His father was teachers, of the Jedi Council, and you expect him to be an adult through all this shit with all this power. Of course not.
He let his emotions rule him, and that's not what Jedi's are supposed to do. That's the opposite of what Jedi's are supposed to do. So, yeah,
he grew up with powers while being a snot-nosed kid.
Yeah. I mean, and he definitely acts like a teenager here, even though he's not. He's a 20-something-year-old married adult that acts like a child, and I mean, the only reason he's on the council is basically because they decide, well, let's use Anakin to spy on him, and because the council's chancellor has no jurisdiction over Jedi. He should not be asking them to have him on the council in the first place.
As far as Anakin's emotions, I think because of how he grew up and had to grow up so quickly, he never learned how to use them the right way and how to prioritize things. And because he grew up, like you said, without his mom. The Jedi's were all, that they were his father. He went through all the training and everything.
Well,
but they never really sat down and let him, and he never got to realize how to use his emotions as a child would learn to grow up when he's growing up.
I think of Anakin the same as I think of Paul Atreides from Dune, because he was expected to eat duty for lunch and a responsibility for dinner, and that's basically what he grew up with. So if you grow up with that, how are you expected to emotionalize all of that and be a social genius in the world of being an adult?
Yeah, I mean, I know when Yoda originally said that he was too old because he was already like 7 or 8, because they like to take infants. They take them at infant, usually become a Jedi. That they it's definitely weird that you never mention how the parents must feel. They have a baby, and then all of a sudden Jedi show up and say, "Oh, they're a Jedi. We're taking them." Like it's kind of rough. I mean, I'm definitely on the side of Jedi, but that's definitely rough way to do things. But
yeah,
that being
especially
said,
the way that we as humanity think of our children.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you got to think of it in reality. I mean, in reality, in other countries, they breed warriors in Africa.
Oh, I know.
And
I get. I mean, being an American it's definitely much harder for me to understand them doing this. Where if I was in certain other countries, it would be perfectly natural, and it wouldn't even probably give it a second thought. But environment where I grew up, that's not normal for your kids to be taken away and basically made to serve. I mean, it's like they don't even get a choice if they want to be a Jedi. At least Anakin actually was given a choice. Like, they said, "Do you want to go?" And he's like, "It's up to you." So Anakin had the choice to go. Yes, he was young, very young, but he at least had a choice where most of them don't have a choice. I mean, and you say, it's. And this is probably why you have a lot of Jedi that fall to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're basically, it's like how they make stormtroopers. Later, they're forced. They're forced to be stormtroopers. They're
Mm-hmm.
forced to kill people. So I mean, basically, Jedi's were doing the same thing. They were forcing them to be Jedi's.
But real young, so that they were soldiers from the get go.
Yeah.
So that there would be no resistance in them as teenagers. They would already be in that mindset of I
There
am a
wouldn't be any.
Jedi.
There
Yeah,
wouldn't be any emotional baggage.
Correct.
right. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work, and they still do, and they follow the dark side. I mean, Luke
Luke was
resisted,
tempted. Luke
but
was tempted, though.
no. Luke did turn to the dark side. If you actually read the EU, and he was in a comic. I normally didn't read comics, but I read that one because I wanted to know that story. He was turning to the dark side because the Palpatine had come back in one of his clones. He had clones all throughout the universe and galaxy, and he one of his clones, his spirit was brought back into a clone, and he basically Luke was basically trying to be like an undercover Jedi, and and he actually turned to the dark side in trying to pretend that he turned to the dark side, basically, and Leia brought him back. So he did finally turn, but
In the
he was
comics.
trying to be undercover to stop Palpatine again. And unfortunately, it just got out from under him, and he lost his way. And Leia brought him back. So awesome story if you guys never read it. I'm not sure the name of it. Forgot the name of it, but look it up. Just Luke Falls to the Dark Side. You'll find it. Great read. I think it was like 3 or 6 comics or something. So it's a very small, short story, but really good one, and really important to the overall story arc, I think, because Luke, when he becomes, when he's a master, he knows what it's like to be on the dark side, so and the light, so he's able to learn from his mistakes and how try to teach
This
others
must
to
be during
avoid.
it must be set up during the time that he was trying to teach Kylo Ren how to be.
No. This was EU. There was no Kylo Ren.
Okay, so then
This was Legends. This is when he was. This is he had built the Jedi Temple, and he had students from all over.
Okay.
And during that time, he
That's right. His spirit came back as a clone, right?
Palpatine. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
actually, it might have been Luke. I think Luke had just started the academy, or was looking for people, or it might have been right before that. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I read it, but yeah, this isn't even he didn't even just come back once. He's come back a couple times. Because like I said, he had clones hidden everywhere. So, and evidently he knows how to move his essence. I mean, you gotta think that it's not that odd that he could come back with the power of the Sith that he had. You know, that he
Okay.
was extremely powerful. So when not to get off too much topic, but when people
Yeah.
complain about Palpatine coming back in the sequels, um, either definitely have not read enough of the EU books, and a lot of people claim, "Oh, I love the Legends, I love the EU books," and then they complain about Palpatine coming back. Have you read them? Like, I mean, this is actually an early book, definitely after the Thrawn trilogy and all, but it's definitely an early book, and then the comic is pretty early in the EU. So if you're a fan, then you should have definitely read this.
Well, I know I definitely read one of the trilogies of the Jedi Academy back in the day, but it's been a while.
Right.
Getting back to the storylines, so he's sitting on the council, and they basically, basically Yoda is said that he's got relations with the Wookiees, and he will take a couple of droid armies over to
Clone
help.
armies.
Yep. Clone armies to go and help them, and that's kind of where we meet. That's kind of where we meet Chewbacca for the very first time, technically. Even though it's like the third time or fourth time, actually.
Yeah,
We,
yeah. I mean, which also made me wonder is how come Chewie never mentioned knowing Yoda to Han? I mean, Han could talk Chewie Wookiee, so yeah, kind of
yeah,
wonder why that was never mentioned.
no, it
Because
was so many years ago.
Han was always like, I don't believe in the Force or anything, and Chewie was right there with Master new Grandmaster Yoda, so.
Yeah, there's some distance between that conversation that he should have had with Han, but whatever. Uh, but ultimately, what happens here is a little bit after the council meeting, um, uh, Anakin is told by Ben Kenobi privately that the council wants him to spy on Chancellor Palpatine, and
Why are you asking this of me?
yeah,
I'm not
the,
asking the counselors.
yeah, and he even didn't want to put him in that position, but he had to, regardless, because and the thing is, the Jedi isn't uh, isn't protecting the chancellorship. They're protecting the republic, the place in which the part of the government that Chancellor Palpatine is ruling at the moment. And honestly, if you're in any kind of a regime of any kind, you're looking after the whole thing. You're not just looking after that person and protecting them. You're trying to look out for the
Everyone.
whole of everyone, and that's one thing that I think Anakin wasn't getting, partially because of all the attention that Palpatine has shown him over the years. Because he's shown him a lot of attention
Yeah,
for
right from the get go.
political figure.
In a way, he was a father as much as Kenobi was, and so yeah, he definitely right from the get go, he was being used, and I actually discussed this while you guys were gone with myself. But I was saying they've never actually mentioned who his father was. That I mean, well, they said it was the midichlorians, the Force made him. I think it was Palpatine. Like, he manipulated the midichlorians to go into Anakin, making him in the first place. And
Was it mentioned in the books who
I've never
Anakin's
read
father
any.
was?
I've never read any new canon books, so and I haven't read the older EU, so I don't know. I don't know if it's ever been mentioned. As far as I know, it's never been mentioned. Nobody I've ever talked to has ever said anything about it. So I don't think it has. But that's my personal theory that
He was the
Palpatine.
son of Shmi Skywalker, a slave who conceived a child
That's
without
his
a
mother.
father.
That's his mother.
His blood contained over 20,000 mid-chlorians, surpassing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
of Grandmaster Yoda and all other Jedi in
Yeah,
the
no dad
galaxy.
has ever been mentioned. Or I mean, and she said there is no father when they asked her. Um, but, but like I said, I think he manipulated. I don't think he had sex with her. I think he manipulated the Force into Anakin being created. Because they say the Force created Anakin. Um, but I think it was
Okay,
that
so it's theorized that Skywalker was conceived by the mid-chlorians
the midichlorians. Yeah.
following the Battle of Naboo. The Jedi Council admitted Skywalker into the Order as the Padawan of Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, yeah. So the Jedi man. Let's see. I was just looking.
Yeah, but I believe, like I said, that it was Palpatine that manipulated the midichlorians.
Okay, that's a possible theory. I could see that, which would make him in relation to Rey in the later Skywalker trilogy,
Yeah,
or because Rey we found out was the granddaughter of Palpatine, which
and it also makes sense where she takes the name Skywalker because it's part of the family, So I mean, there's other reasons why she took the name Skywalker, and some fans are pissed off about it, and I tell them to get a life. I completely understand why she took the name. She was denouncing her name as a Palpatine. She didn't want to be known as a Palpatine because the only Palpatine anyone ever knew really was the ruler of the galaxy and was a terrible tyrant. So she didn't want to be associated with that name. Whereas Skywalker was one of hope and heroism. Unless you were Imperial.
So
Yeah.
where does Ben Kenobi go? Oh, that's right. He goes after
He goes after Grievous. He
General Grievous.
Yeah, he goes to Genosis,
What do
and
y'all think about that ride that he has when he gets there? I thought that
no,
creature was pretty cool.
yeah, it's definitely
The
creature
lizard, he's neat. I like him.
yeah,
He
I,
makes
re- I
all kinds of
really
noises.
Do
yeah,
you know what kind of creature that was, Krol?
A
I did
lizard.
not, I did not know that one.
He's a big lizard.
He looked like a
He-
chameleon of some sort,
yeah, he definitely looks a lot like a chameleon.
or something
And,
similar to
and
a giant Gila monster.
I
Like,
and
want one.
he jumped. He was able to jump a lot, really far in places.
I want
and he
one.
Yeah,
was able to swim.
yeah, yeah.
Can we get one?
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can we make him eat the city of Milwaukee? That would be nice. Anyways, but in any case, no, no. You get him going there, and you get this a whole thing where um the people there actually are like, hey, um, we'll help you overthrow him, kind of thing. Uh, and you have that whole lightsaber scene where he pulls out all of his arms and then he goes into that um, vehicle, and
I like when he pulls out all of his arms, though. He's making all the lifesavers go just like it's really neat. It's it looks like a helicopter gonna it actually looks kind of cool, but it shows the expertise of Obi to fight him when he's got four of them coming at him, and he's just one. He just it shows how good he is, how skilled he is to fight him.
oh
Because
yeah,
he does end up taking out what, two of them right at
yeah,
the arm.
yeah.
So
It's a great moment to show you how good Ben Kenobi really is at his fighting skills. You know, and there was a moment in here that we get where Yoda takes Ben Kenobi aside and tells him, "Hey, um, uh, there is one other person that has come back from the Force, your old master, um, and I will tell you how to commune with him." Uh, is that at the end?
Yeah, that's at the end.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because Kenobi says he's gonna basically going. Yoda says when while you're in exile, I got a little project for you, to commune with
Okay,
Qui-Gon, and he said
I
he'll
thought
teach.
that happened earlier, but I guess not.
No, no, that's basically one of the last scenes of the movie.
Okay, so ultimately, where is Anakin at this moment? Didn't he go to Palpatine and he was talking to him, or
Yeah,
did he have something else to do? Oh yeah, that's right. Um, he he was told. Okay, what happens first? Because I know Samuel L. Jackson. He's one of the characters here on the council, and
Mace Windu.
Swindu. Um, he goes and confronts uh, Palpatine
Not
with.
yet.
Well, ultimately he does.
I mean,
But what
Anakin,
makes him go do that?
because well, that's what you're skipping over. Anakin's talking to Palpatine, and that's when Palpatine finally reveals. He says, I can teach you the dark side, and
That's right.
I
That's
can.
when he
He's like,
realizes that he's
and
the Sith Lord.
realizes. I mean, he still doesn't even 100% sure,
And he's angry at
and
him.
Palpatine told him about that. Yeah, and this is where Anakin finally remembers that he's a Jedi and remembers that he's supposed to be against Sith, and he basically, he takes off and.
You can tell that he's like really troubled though at this
Oh
moment
yeah, definitely.
because
And then he
because
tells Mace Windu, and Mace is like, "Well, this is true. You've earned my trust because straight up, Mace didn't trust him, and you get why because of his outbursts and all this other stuff, and then he's like, I must come with, and he's like, Mace like, no, stay here, and Mace knew that if he went, that you know, Anakin would do something stupid, and what happened? He did something stupid. Mace won that battle. Well, Mace won the battle because Palpatine let him. Okay, the whole thing where Palpatine was like, "Oh, help me! I'm gonna die."
yeah
That was fake.
yeah
And the second Anakin
and
saves, in quotation marks, saves him from Mace. Palpatine turns and says, unlimited power. And he's like striking him with full lightning, and you
and
know,
that whole thing with the power and all that jazz turning against him, uh, that gave a little bit of why the Emperor was so decayed looking, you know,
yeah,
in the face, and
yeah.
I do like that moment.
I definitely agree because when you see him, he looks normal. He looks completely normal, and it's like, how did he become? I mean, it's not that many years that he should
Well,
look that old.
and
And
it's funny because this is the same guy who played him originally.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, I
so
McDermott.
you have to imagine that he was a lot younger when he played the Emperor originally.
Yeah, I McDermott is his name, and yeah, he's played the Emperor in all three movies. And there's a meme about it. Um, it says something about at the end of every Star Wars, you always have a Palpatine using lightning. And it's true. In Revenge of the Sith, he uses lightning, and he could have stopped. He just configures himself to help turn Anakin to the dark side. He could have stopped using the lightning. It wasn't Mace doing the lightning. He was
And
just
it's because
reflecting it
of
back.
him killing that particular Jedi Master that he ends up going and killing the viceroys of the Trade Federation.
Well, I mean, when he first does it, he's like, "What did I do?" And then a moment later, he's like, "Yes, I'll serve you." And it's just
Hmm.
like, I don't understand. Okay, I get why he decided to turn, but how did he go from "What did I do" on Mace to killing younglings? Like it's
That
not.
was
It's
really quick. He just like you
Yeah,
said, we went from what did I do to all of a sudden he's on the
yeah.
scene going, I'll serve you. I'll serve you.
It was
yeah.
just
It
really
was a
quick.
really quick change, and I
It,
wish that they could have drawn that out a little bit longer.
yeah, because it's like, how did he go from? I mean, I get he killed the Sand People kids, or whatever.
Well,
They killed his mother. That's a whole
Palpatine did
different.
say that he would in this whole um telling him that he will if he teaches him how to see. That's why I like the dialogue between him and Palpatine.
Oh
He
yeah,
does tell him that he can bring, well, not he doesn't mention that when he says he said that the only way that someone can bring back someone from the dead is if you are not a Jedi. You
yeah.
know,
He said not from a Jedi.
it's only when he reveals himself that he is who he is that he says that he promises to teach him that way, because those dreams of his is why he turned. Those dreams
And I think those.
scared him so much because
I
he
think those
loves
dreams
Padme so
were
much.
manipulated by Palpatine as well. Like that, because how else would
then
Palpatine be able to turn him?
then
He
how did he
fucking.
get the dreams of his mother?
Oh, those are real. Those are real Force dreams. The Padme dreams, I don't think were real Force dreams. I think they were manipulated by Palpatine, because he needed something to hook Anakin by. I mean, yeah, he started grooming him from childhood, but he
Yeah,
had to
but
turn him
then
completely from.
what happened in his dream became a reality, you know,
Right,
ultimately
but
in the
he
end. So
it
how
became
could it be a
it became a
manipulation?
reality because he made it happen. He's the one that force choked Padme. He's the one that turned completely to the dark side, and then she thought he was dead because Obi-Wan said he killed him, and that's when she died. She basically died from heartache. So her dying was caused by him turning to the dark side. So
See,
the very
that's another thing in this film that I had a hard time believing. The whole birthing process of Padme. Like, I have seen uh, a lot of uh, live births, especially from the miracles of life. But in reality, a real live birth, you have a ton of screaming from these tiny life forms that are being pulled out of the womb, and she was just like, okay, there's one child. Ah, okay, there's another child. and it wasn't a C-section that was happening. They were pulling these children out of her. I expected a more painful birth.
Well, we don't know. Think about this. It's a different galaxy, and there's all kinds of different technology. I probably gave her something that she feels no pain. I mean,
it was just not a fully believable.
They don't have the medicine we have. They are completely more advanced than us, and I'm pretty sure they could have easily had something that made it so there was no pain in childbirth. So yeah, definitely.
I just had a hard time believing the whole thing.
My issue is her dying. Like okay, so she died of a broken heart. Like, I've had a broken heart. I'm not dead. Like, I've seen animals die of a broken heart. I've never seen humans ever die of a broken heart.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart.
And
I cannot follow you.
And, yeah, but that's a different scene. But I'm saying when she actually died, she just gave birth to 2 babies. Like, they're not enough to live by. I mean, when Anakin told her that she was going to die in childbirth, her first thing was, what about the babies? So all of a sudden she went from caring about the babies to not caring enough about the babies to live because she just gives up and dies. Like, it just made no sense that she died. None. I mean, him turning to the dark side caused her supposed death, but why she actually physically died made no sense. Like, she wasn't.
Well,
there was no complications.
They said that they said that there was nothing wrong with her, but she was dying.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, you can't just die because you want to. That's why people commit suicide. They actually have to do something. She just wanted to die and died. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And again, why wouldn't she want to live for her kids? Like, it definitely. I love Star Wars, but that definitely is a huge hole.
Had a problem
huge hole that I try not to think about because there's nothing that I can think about that could give me a reason of how she died, like how and the why. Like, it just does not make any sense at all. No matter, I mean, I'm very good at figuring out things and the reasonings behind things they did in the movies, but there's nothing. I got nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It's just,
if there's nothing physically wrong with her, then why is she dying?
How did she die?
How could she die of a broken heart when you don't see the breaking of it?
It didn't physically break. It's when you say broken heart, it's emotional. It's not literal. She can't literally die from a broken heart. Animals can, which is weird. I mean, I've seen that. I've personally seen it.
I've known that. I mean, I've known people to love people so much that they want to die, that they will themselves to die.
But then again, Debbie Reynolds did die very shortly after Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, very true.
Very strange.
There have been people that, they've been married for like 40, 50 years. They're their soulmate, and it's been documented that somebody will die, and within hours, even a day, the spouse dies. It does happen. I mean, hey, my stepfather died, and 38 days later, my mother did.
Wow.
Yep. Which we think that she stopped, medically, taking care of herself, so that she set herself.
Well, that makes sense. That at least makes sense of why she died. Like I said in the movie here, just like nothing, like she just had childbirth. There was no complications there.
Yeah.
So how did she physically die? I mean, I can understand her spirit.
I guess we're supposed to believe that she died of a broken heart.
Again, yeah. Like I said, I just kind of skip over that because
it's hard to believe that someone can die of a broken heart.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. But I believe anything else, but I don't believe that.
But we
Yeah.
kind of glazed over the fact that he did kill the younglings. I mean,
Oh, I know. I mean that whole scene. He goes in there, and the little boys like, Master Skywalker. What do we do? We're surrounded. We're
that's so
surrounded. And then
heartbreaking.
he lights up the lightsaber, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I remember seeing it for the first time, and I'm just like, this is horrible. I mean, they don't actually show him killing the younglings,
Well,
but
they do later in a hologram.
well, yeah, kinda. I mean, you can't
Sort of.
really see anything.
I can.
More you can see him. You can see him whipping around the room, but you can't really see the lightsabers going into the little kids or whatever. So obviously they didn't go too much detail with it. Um, but
Well, yeah, because this was a property owned by Disney.
no,
Yeah,
no,
this
no, no,
was
no, 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 no.
well. It
Disney did not own it yet. Disney didn't buy it until 2015. 10 years later. So no, it was not Disney. Just it's still a PG movie. Like all the Star
okay.
Wars movies are
They was
PG. So
they were. I
they,
guess they were trying to keep it kid friendly.
but they're killing kids.
I know,
Like
but
like
they weren't showing it,
I,
which is
it,
which is something that I get.
in my mind, it's just as bad. I, like there's a meme where it shows Anakin as the Force Ghost with Obi-Wan and Yoda, and
Do you
then
like the way that they kept it,
let
where
me
they didn't
finish.
show you?
Let me finish. And
Okay.
then they have the Force kids, and the kids go, "What is he doing here?" Like he straight up just murdered them. Like basically in their eyes and most people's eyes, like no matter what he did to try to redeem himself, like how the fuck did he redeem himself from killing kids? Like there is no redeeming quality. Yes, he saved his own son.
Well, he'd
Yes,
already killed kids before. He killed the Sand People kids.
right, but those weren't kids he grew up like he didn't know personally. These were a beast clan that he felt were beasts because they're raised just to kill people to kill and they basically just kidnapped his mother, kept tortured her until she died. Like
Hmm.
they didn't just kill her; they tortured her. So I can kind of understand that, even though it was wrong. I can understand that killing the younglings. These are kids he knew that because
They were
he was around
defenseless.
them,
They were
and
defenseless.
I wouldn't say they were defenseless, but obviously they didn't have the power to fight back against him. You know, like regular droids or whatever. I'm sure they could have done a couple of things. They were trained in lightsaber duels. They could have done something, but
He could have allowed them an
against
opportunity to pick up a lightsaber and at least
against
have a
a
fight.
Sith. Well, against a Sith, even a Sith apprentice, he was still way too powerful. I mean, it took Obi-Wan everything to beat him himself. So yeah, they definitely had no prayer. But you're right, they could have gave him a fighting chance. But again, they had no chance really.
No,
That older kid, against the clones, he was fighting back and he was doing a decent job, but he just got
the one that
outnumbered.
oh yeah, that's right, the one that allowed that one dude to leave is that
Yeah,
because he's the one who eventually became Leia's father.
yeah, he's one adopted because they said that him and his wife always wanted a daughter, so they said they'll take Leia
And what's
and
funny is I remember him. I think he was the one who played. Maybe he didn't. Uh,
Layla.
I was thinking of a movie called Tommy Knockers. It was a Stephen King miniseries. But I think that's the wrong guy. This guy, I think he originally played in Law and Order.
Yeah,
At one point in time.
not Law and Order. The show before it.
Boston.
It was an 80s.
NYPD Blue.
Yeah. My mother watched it. I can't remember. I know. No, not NYPD Blue. It was a lawyer show.
Okay.
He was a lawyer.
I was just thinking I'd seen him before.
L.A. Law. L.A. Law.
Okay, I can see that.
I know his name. I just can't think of it at the top of my head now. I just as soon as we start talking about him, I'm like, now I can't think of his name, but I know his name. Just can't think of it at the moment.
What was his name in here? Do you remember?
Organa.
Okay.
Senator Organa. I
Okay.
can't think of his first name. But yeah, that's how Leia got her last name, Leia Organa, because that's his last name, Senator Organa. I don't know if they mentioned his first name or not. Bail Organa. That's it.
Well,
Bail Organa.
ultimately, after that, that's when Anakin shows up with Padme, and he basically kind of tells her a little bit of what's going on, and that he thinks that that the Jedi,
are trying to take over, and basically tries to lie and say the same thing that Palpatine was saying, that the Jedi are trying to take over, and blah blah blah. And she's like, I don't believe that. Like straight up, she's like, I don't believe that. Which it was ridiculous.
And basically he's like, I've got to go take care of some shit, and I'll be back for you, and I'll let you know when things are safe. Basically. So he goes off to that lava planet.
Well, he does tell her that he's going to Mustafar.
Yeah. So he's going to that lava planet, which
Mustafar.
is Mustafar. And that's where the Trade Federation dudes are. And he basically kills all of them.
Newt Gunray.
Yeah. And you get that whole line. Oh, Darth Vader, we were expecting you. So he kills them, and then he's looking off into the distance.
They said Lord Vader, not Darth Vader, but yeah.
Yeah.
And the Newt Gunray is like, he promised us peace, and it's like, I'm thinking, yeah, you're gonna get peace, but in death.
I mean, whenever the Emperor wants to start anew, he kills off all of his people and then just finds new ones. It's like,
well, I mean, they were pawns from the beginning. He used them to start the war so that he would get put in as the chancellor in the first place. He manipulated the whole thing in Padme into becoming the chancellor. Then he manipulated things to stay a chancellor by keeping the war going. So he was working both sides. I mean, the war was all him, both sides of it. So
because we saw him talking to General Grievous, and
I mean, if you think about it, in the first movie, why would a trade federation stop Naboo from trading? It doesn't make sense, because they were being manipulated by Palpatine. I mean, I don't know exactly what he was promising, but whatever it was enough for them to do what they were doing, and to to go along with the plan. So I do kind of wonder what happened to Wat Tambor, because they never mentioned it. So what happened to Wat?
Don't forget that Palpatine puts out the thing to everybody. It's time, and that's how all the Jedis get killed, because everybody.
Oh yeah, they put a beacon for everyone to come back to the Jedi Academy, and I mean to the Jedi temple on Coruscant, and they I mean, they don't really show any coming back there dying, but they show a bunch of the others being killed by their, like Plo Koon gets blown up in his ship, and oh, what the hell's her name? The one with the Liku, the Twi'lek Jedi. She's in the forest running with, and they shoot her from behind. And,
right, all the Jedis are getting killed. Yeah,
all the Jedis are getting killed except for you see Ketchet, and then you see Grandmaster Yoda, and they pull out the guns, and a second later their heads drop. Like Grandmaster Yoda ain't the one to be fucked with. He's just like boom. And that's when you find out that that's Chewbacca standing there, and I mean, well, he jumps on him. I mean, he looks like
Yeah, he just
Chewbacca. But
crawls
then,
up him.
yeah, he actually called him Chewbacca. As he's saying goodbye to the that I was like, oh my God, it's Chewie! Like I didn't realize it. I mean, yeah, he definitely looked like Chewie, but I didn't realize it was Chewie. So that was really a great thing that they added him into the movie.
I like Chewie.
Yeah, I love Chewie, but yeah, Bill saves
Oh yeah.
Bell saves Yoda, picks him up, and then gets Kenobi, and Kenobi's like, my troops turned on me, and they're like they they're turning on all the Jedi. He picks up Kenobi, and then they go back to the temple so they can change the code to tell all the Jedi to stay away from the temple. So this tells you right there that there are other Jedi out there, and what the hell is that noise?
Sorry.
Whoa, you're like totally echoing.
Oh my God!
Sorry about that.
It's still going.
It's yeah.
Holy shit!
And I thought that mine with the little whistle was bad.
Little whistle, no, that's it. Sounds like a fucking train, but yeah, that was annoying too.
It's still going, David. Whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay. Oh, that worked.
Okay, sorry about that.
But anyways, we definitely have to talk about the duels.
Oh, Krol, you sound like a droid.
Thank you.
No, the duel between
I mean, Yoda gets
Yoda.
beat. Yoda gets beat. I mean, it's funny because Kenobi says, send me after Palpatine, and Yoda's like, you're not ready. Well, neither was Yoda. Yoda wasn't even ready. But yeah, obviously, Kenobi probably would have died against Palpatine. As good as Kenobi is, he was just no match. I mean, like I said, Grandmaster Yoda wasn't even a match. And,
That was one hell of a fight, though.
oh yeah, it was an awesome fight. I absolutely loved the fight, and I love how he escapes and he says, I must go into exile. So that explains, why Yoda was on Dagobah.
Yeah, when the Chancellor, when he was throwing all those seats at Yoda, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and Yoda's jumping around. He kind of looked like a frog.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was definitely
Just he's so little and he's just all over the place, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, Grandmaster Yoda is awesome. I mean, that's why he's a Grandmaster.
I mean, we got a little bit of that in episode 2.
Yeah, when he's fighting Dooku. I remember my best friend was like, if he's always walking around on a cane, how is he able to do all this? I'm like, he's used the Force. Obviously, when he's just walking around, he's not going to exert the energy to use the Force to walk normally. He just uses a cane like someone his age should do. He's over 800 years old in the prequels. So he's up there in age. So he just uses the cane normally, but doesn't mean he has to use the cane all the time. It's just he's not exerting the Force all the time. There's no reason for it. So yeah, I was kind of surprised he didn't get that. Because he's 2 years older than me, and we've been into Star Wars together our whole lives. But yeah.
Okay, so ultimately, it comes down to that the fight between Ben Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, and that's when it gets to be getting a little good.
Oh yeah, there's some definitely great dialogue too. I mean, you have
you were my brother.
No, I'm talking about before that. I mean, Anakin's like, Anakin talking about his new empire, and then Obi-Wan's like, your new empire, and then he's like, Anakin's just like, if you're not with me, then you're against me, and Obi-Wan's like, only Sith deal in absolutes, and he's like, I'll do what I must, and Anakin's like, you will try. And then they start dueling, and
Well,
the,
yeah,
the whole fight,
he
like,
flips over him, and
then he
he,
says, this is now you're gonna die. This is the end, my master. And then Kenobi jumps on the ground, and he says, don't try it. I have the high ground. And Anakin's like, you underestimate me, and again, he says, "Don't try it." And of course, Anakin jumps, and Kenobi cuts him in half.
which comes into play in Star Wars when he says, this time, Kenobi, I have the high ground.
No, he didn't say he had the high ground because he didn't have the high ground.
I'm talking about in Star Wars when they
yes,
they have
he did
their
not
fight.
say anything about the high ground.
I thought that he did.
No, I said it when I was watching the movie the 3 weeks ago when we did the movie. But no, he said, "I am the master." We feed again. Only I am the master. Now and Obi-Wan says, "Only the master of evil, Darth." And yeah, he never says anything about high ground.
Okay.
But he didn't have the high ground. They had the same ground. There was no high or low. It was a flat surface. So, yeah, I jokingly said, now you don't have the high ground when I was watching it. But maybe that's what you were thinking of. But they actually, neither one of them, because, again, it was made well before these movies. So that hadn't been thought of yet. So,
true.
Yeah. But it would have been great if they had said something about like what I said. It would have been awesome in watching prequels.
I did feel bad for Anakin when he flipped over and got his whole bottom half cut, and then his body was being dragged down to the lava, and it caught fire.
And he's like, "I hate you," and he's like, and that's when Kenobi's like you were supposed to bring the end of the Sith, not join them, and
you were supposed to be the guy, the one,
the chosen one, and you were you were like my brother. I loved you, and Anakin's just like, I hate you with all the intensity and eyes, and he's burning, and that scene is just so awesome. And I can see why Obi-Wan, walked away saying, "Yeah, I killed him. He's dead." Like who would come back from that? How would anyone come back from that? Somehow Palpatine, realizes what has happened to Lord Vader. He can sense it. Comes down there and gets medical droids to save him and put him into the suit, keeping him alive. So yeah, I mean, Kenobi was pretty well convinced that he killed him, and anyone else would have been convinced that he was dead too. So it was probably a very big surprise when Darth Vader came back and Obi-Wan like, what the hell? And then Maul comes back and does the same thing. Maul gets cut in half and comes back too. So Obi-Wan doesn't have good luck cutting people in half. He cuts Maul in half. He comes back. He cuts Anakin in half. He comes back.
Darth Maul comes back.
Yeah.
In the books, right?
No. Well, in Clone Wars.
Oh, okay.
And then in Rebels. And then in Rogue One. Not Rogue One, I'm sorry, Solo movie.
Okay.
Well, Solo movie is before Rebels in the timeline.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in any case,
you never watched the Clone Wars?
I have not watched the Clone Wars.
Ah, you need to watch Clone Wars. Yeah, basically, he did this. He did. His hatred was so strong for Kenobi for killing him and everything that he kept himself alive, and he ended up finding a creature and fusing his body with the creatures. So he had like he was like basically like a half Zabrak and half like a spider like creature. When he was found basically mad, almost like mad crazy, like insane, eating insects and stuff, and basically got brought back, and he ended up getting robotic legs for a while. This was and then he ended up becoming Mandalore for a while. You know, the leader of the Mandalorians.
Okay.
Because he defeated he defeated what the hell's her name? Katie Sarok, what the hell her name is, played her in the Mandalorian. Oh, Bo-Katan. He defeated Bo-Katan for the Darksaber, and whoever
Okay.
owns the Darksaber becomes Mandalore. So he was Mandalore for a little while in the Clone Wars too. Kenobi ends up killing him again, and then he ends up showing back up in Rebels, and basically tempts Ezra, and is acting like he's good, even though everyone else knew he was bad, but he almost sucks Ezra into becoming falling to the dark side, but he doesn't.
Okay.
That's the main character in Rebels, and that's when old Ben ends up fighting him, and killing him for good in Rebels.
What are you saying, Tammy?
She's muted.
You're muted.
I wasn't saying anything to this. I was yelling at my child that keeps going, "Rawr."
Ah. Okay. Sassy, our child.
Yeah. Well, I knew you guys didn't have kids, so I figured you was talking about the cat.
But in any case, no. I never got to watch the Clone Wars or Rebel. I have the animated movie and I watched it once. It's just I couldn't get into the animation. I don't know why at the time.
I 100% agree. I watched the first episode of the Clone Wars. As much as Yoda was badass in it, I didn't like the animation, and then later I finally was like, I'm gonna watch Clone Wars. It is absolutely phenomenal, dude. And Rebels is awesome too. You need to, I ended up finally adding a final season to Clone Wars, another season, which brought it right into Revenge of the Sith. I mean, the end is the clones turning on the Jedi and stuff, and except for Rex. Rex is the only one who broke them in the Bad Batch. They all broke their programming and did not kill their Jedi. Like, he attacked Ahsoka, and Ahsoka was able to get him get him unprogrammed. So in the Bad Batch, I guess they were just built that way, that it didn't work except for one of the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is clones, but they're like made different. I mean, and they come in different shapes and sizes.
Okay.
They're clones, but they're definitely like, no, I wouldn't say deformed, but they definitely look different. I mean, they're definitely the same guy, but like this Rucker, he's this humongous
See,
guy.
it's hard for me because the clones look a lot like stormtroopers, and you know what I mean.
No, the armor is completely different.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when I first saw a clone trooper, I was like, why did they change the stormtrooper outfit armor? I don't like it. And then I realized, well, they're not stormtroopers; they're clone troopers. So, it makes sense. And the armor is I actually like the armor now for clone troopers. But yeah, clone troopers and stormtroopers are totally different. Because the clone troopers were the protection from the Republic, but they all had that little chip in their head that none of them even knew about. They didn't even know about it themselves. Like, once he said
It was
command,
something that the dark side
it was
had
like,
put into them.
Well, Sidious did it when he had them ordered. He paid for the Chamonians to do that, And they explore it more in the Bad Batch. Bad Batch is another Star Wars animated show set after Clone Wars and before Rebels, and they actually tied it into the Mandalorian TV show, which was awesome. So if you haven't seen that, you need to watch them all. They really expand the universe really well, and if you're a Star Wars fan at all, you need to watch them. And the Mandalorian is absolutely phenomenal.
Well,
I mean,
we both watched the first season of The Mandalorian, and we really liked it.
you need to see the second season, dude. The second season is so much better.
Unfortunately, I just won't pay for Disney Plus. I refuse to pay for anything dealing with the mouse. So the mouse can go suck it for all I care.
Fucking get that at all, but you're not the only person. I fucking love Disney. I was the first to get Disney Plus, and this was, I knew Star Wars.
I'm sorry, but most Disney films are like $25-$30. And when other
this is only $5.99 a month. So what are you bitching about?
Because I don't like the prices that they have. I shouldn't have to pay for something. I shouldn't have to pay for something else when I already have something. We have cable. It should be amongst the cable. It should have never been a separatist.
Cable. It has nothing to do with cable. Cable is an expensive waste of money.
Exactly.
Drop cable and get a couple of streaming sites. You save yourself thousands of dollars.
No.
Yes. You're complaining about paying for a $5.99 streaming service and you're paying hundreds of dollars.
I'm complaining about how there's like 700 streaming sites that expect you to pay more to get the other shit.
And you're paying thousands for cable.
Not really.
Yes, you are.
Dude, how much are we getting? Hey, Tammy, how much is our cable bill?
Over $200 guaranteed.
No. It's the cable part of it.
Yeah.
Is let me think a minute.
Well, how about all of it? Because you can get cheaper phone service. You can get the internet's the only thing that cable has to offer.
Well,
unless you get
my phone is on our bill, so it's
of course it is.
My phone, the internet, and the cable are all on one bill.
Yeah, of course it is. Because they have that bundle that saves you money.
But just the internet.
Except it doesn't save you money.
Just the internet is $48.
Yeah, $50 for the internet, which makes sense.
But the cable it's less than $100 because I know my cell phone bill is $60.
Then you must have basic cable.
We have the second tier.
Which is basic with a couple of the channels thrown in. So you have nothing. You basically have absolutely nothing. You're paying almost $100. You could have. I have about 10 streaming services and don't pay anywhere close to that. So yeah, you're doing things wrong. The only thing cable has to offer is the internet. Unless you can get FiOS, the internet's the only thing you want. Other than that, drop it. If you really want your local TV, you can get local TV for free. Buy yourself a Roku TV, and Roku TV gives you all those local channels free, and then you just get the streaming sites you want. I've been telling people for years.
You don't get all the ones that we like though on Roku because I just was by his parents for 10 days and that's what they got. And some of the channels that I really like and I watch a lot.
Well, then you can get YouTube, you can get Tubi. There's a million different ones out there, like you said. Okay, that you can get all those channels you want. Okay, and it'll be way cheaper than cable. Way cheaper than cable. So again, your argument of paying, I get it because a lot of people complain about it, but you can't complain about it if you have cable because you're already paying for a ton of shit you don't need that you don't watch. How many channels do you actually watch on cable? You don't watch all fucking 100, 300 channels, whatever it is.
No, but the channels that we do are not on any of the streaming sites.
Yes, they are.
No, they aren't.
Yes, they are.
The IT channel is not on any of those sites.
And neither is TCM.
I guarantee.
Neither is TCM.
I guarantee. Oh yes, it is. I've seen that. I've seen Turner Classic
No, it
movies
isn't.
on.
I was just at his parents
Yes,
for
it
10
is.
and it's not on. It's not on
Oh,
Roku.
you're not
It's
listening to
not
me.
on.
You're not
It's
listening to me. It's on YouTube channel. It's on other stations that you would have. You buy them instead of buying cable. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than cable. There's other streaming sites that you buy. I mean, I'm not talking about Roku. Roku has certain stations, okay, but other streams, but that's free. And then you
Well,
have Tubi that's free.
we have not come across a streaming station specifically for TCM yet. So until we do,
I
we're
have.
sticking with cable.
I've seen it.
Well, if you can come across it, maybe we'll start thinking about it. Or if you can find one for the ID channel or whatever she likes, because she likes Lifetime. Lifetime's not on Roku.
No, Lifetime's not on Roku, but Lifetime's on a billion others. I think Lifetime's on Tubi.
Lifetime. I was able to get when I was by your parents, but not
Yeah, Lifetime is nothing like.
not
Not-
ID and
Of
not
course
ID
you're gonna
and
have.
not TCM.
Of course, you're gonna have Lifetime. Every fucking woman in the world loves Lifetime. I'm gonna have those crying drummer shows. Fucking hate Lifetime. 99% of Lifetime I can't stand. I
See,
don't want.
if
I
we
don't
got
like
the if we
I don't
got
like-
Discovery streaming, Discovery stream.
Discovery is on Disney Plus. Discovery is part of Disney Plus.
Discovery's got their own stream, and that would include the ID channel because that's part of Discovery.
Disney owns Discovery.
Oh, but still, TCM is one of my favorites, and I haven't come across that yet.
I do. I have. I'll have to look it up again and let you guys know which one it is.
Well, if you can find it, maybe we'll actually start looking into it possibly as a way. It's just I hate buffering. I hate when the damn thing circles around and it's now going nowhere.
I don't.
I have had that on Netflix. I've had that happen on Prime. And
Do you watch them on your TV or your phone?
we watched them on our TV.
I've never had it happen on my TV.
We have had it happen on our TV.
I think Netflix has happened.
It will continue to buffer and buffer.
It's happened
and
once or
buffer.
twice. It's happened once or twice with Netflix. It's never happened with Disney Plus. It's never happened to Amazon. It's never happened with WWE Network.
Well, we don't have Roku TV, you know.
It never happened to Peacock, even though Peacock sucks dick. It never happened with any of the streaming sites I have. I have Hulu. I have a bunch. I got Showtime.
My next thing
I got
is to
Stars.
upgrade my TV one of these days because my Vizio is probably about 5 years old at least.
Mine's about that old, and mine's still working great. I have a TCL Roku TV Smart 4K HD Ultra
That's
HD.
not mine. Mine is just a plain Vizio.
So you're not.
And
How do you watch streams
through my Blu-ray player.
What?
My Blu-ray player, you put the Blu-ray player on.
Oh, well, this is why you get buffering and shit, because you're not watching it on your TV. You're watching it through another device. And
Well,
that's
my
the truth.
TV doesn't.
When I
TV
watched
isn't
it
like that.
when I watched a couple streaming things on my PS4, I had issues as well. That's why.
Well, yeah,
It's
we didn't
because
have that problem
you
when I
need
was
a-
by
you need
your
a
parents.
smart. Okay, to not have cable, you need a smart TV.
Well,
That's
when
the
we were
only
up, when I was
requirement.
up by his parents have that TV with all the crap on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't run into that when I was watching stuff.
I know because it's a smart. That's what I have. It's a smart TV. That's what you need.
Well, when I bought my Vizio, all that stuff wasn't a big thing then.
Mm-hmm.
As I
Yes,
said,
it was.
No,
No, it
my
wasn't.
Vizio is at least
You
5
said
years
5
old.
years ago. That's when I got mine.
At least 5. It's got to
Yeah.
be probably more.
Yeah, but it wasn't in our stores at that point in time.
I have
Oh.
a 42-inch
I
Vizio that I
forgot
bought
mine
at
through
Walmart.
I actually got mine through Finger Hut, so I paid way too much for mine. But
Well, this was my first flat screen TV that I bought, and it was on sale at Christmas time at Walmart. And my friend told me to get a Vizio because those were the best ones at the time. Just go get a
Yeah.
Vizio.
So
So I went
luckily,
and got a Vizio.
luckily, I have a much better friend than you do, and they told me to buy a smart TV instead of a Vizio, because
They
Vizio.
didn't have all that stuff when I bought the
No, they
Yes,
didn't.
Vizio.
they did.
No, they didn't. I was there
Then you
because
weren't. Then you don't.
Roku TVs were just coming out, and they were in the
I'm not just talking
thousands.
about Roku. They've had Fire TVs as well. But yes, they had Roku TVs then. They had Fire TVs then. They had Apple TVs then.
They just weren't the recommended televisions at the time.
Well, they
They were
weren't.
recommended by anybody that knows what they're doing or talking
They were
about.
like brand. They were out.
My
They were like brand new.
my
It's like,
my friend my friend was fixed computers for a living, so he knew all about
well, my
electronics.
Vizio is probably more than 5 years old. I'm just saying they didn't have all the TVs that were out when I bought my Vizio didn't have all
Amazon
kinds
had
of shit
all of
on
it.
them.
See, that's why I shop online. I don't shop in real life because I get whatever I want. I don't have to shop around and just hope they have
Well,
what
my
I
next
want.
upgrade will be a different TV, but
Well,
right now,
I went from having a tiny 19-inch, a tiny what was it, a tiny 13-inch TV to this TV. This
what
one
inch is
is
that?
uh this one is a 42.
That's what mine
What
is.
what's
Yeah,
the what's the
it's
brand?
TCL.
Okay, she
See, I
had
didn't see that when we were shopping.
RCA, um,
RC is a
14
good brand.
It was
RCA TVs in both bedrooms. The first time I moved in with her.
with
Yeah,
the RCA that was in. It was in a huge entertainment center, and it was with RCA that had that big ass N in the back behind it.
oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing how TVs are nowadays. I mean, I remember my grandmother's TV. You know that built into a, it was like built into this huge like bureau, and they were just fucking heavy as fuck too. I mean, trying moving a TV now is like I can pick up that TV with one arm, and I can't use my left arm, so I have to use one arm.
My
So
last TV that I had was an Insignia, and it was like a 14-inch thing that used to be a security camera, a
okay.
TV. And I used it with my PlayStation 2s in my place, and it was just fine for me because I would watch a lot of my shit on my computer at the time.
I didn't watch for years. I didn't watch TV, and then I borrowed a TV, and like I wasn't really when I was a kid. I was like, I can't imagine life without TV. And then they came out with computers, or well, they had computers, but then they came out with home computers, and I got a home computer back in 1999, and I was just like, what's the TV? Like I stopped playing my PlayStation right in the middle of Final Fantasy VIII. But to be fair, Final Fantasy VIII just sucked dick because there was so many side shit you had to do that I just got sick of it. Like I was just like, I'm done with this game. So the computer came out at perfect timing because I was just really sick of playing Final Fantasy VIII. It was just not fun anymore. The side shit was not fun at all.
I'm sure if you can convince us that there are streaming sites for the things that we're looking for, I'm sure it would probably be sufficient for us to look into
I
getting
mean, you got to keep
streaming
cable.
stuff. My
You
thing is, Disney is big into owning things and monopolizing, and I just have
Disney
a
owns a
big.
lot of things you already pay for, so
Yeah, I
I
know.
would pay for it.
I just don't want to put any more money towards the mouse than I necessarily have to.
If you don't put money towards it, then you may not get the stuff you want anymore. Like I said, all these
I'm good
people that
with
want.
that as long as Disney dies. So
Why would you want Disney to die? And Star Wars dies, and Marvel dies, and all the great Disney
it would
movies die.
just be refurbished in another.
I wish Disney would own
company.
everything. I want Disney to own every fucking thing so I can get sick and tired of all these other bullshit fucking companies doing stupid things. Fuck that. I love the most, made the most forever.
Well, I will continue to hate them
I
for
mean,
my own reasons.
Kathleen Turner can. Kathleen Kennedy can suck a dick and die. She's the worst thing that happened to Star Wars. I wish they would fucking put Favreau or anyone else in charge of Star Wars, or someone that's actually a fan and not a man-hating cunt. Sorry, folks. I have.
You guys, can we finish the movie and you guys
Yep.
can debate later, please?
Yeah, definitely.
My foot is trying to tell me something.
Okay. Well, I think at this moment we can start talking about the production. What did y'all think about the production? Tammy, why don't you go first?
I
What
thought
did,
I thought all the effects and everything were great. I loved the fight scenes. I thought they did really good with that, especially the very end one with Anakin and
Obi-Wan.
Ben Kenobi.
yeah.
Obi-Wan.
And I thought like the backgrounds and everything was it was awesome. It brought to the what was going on. When they were fighting there, that lava, all the
Yeah.
lava and everything falling and everything. It just like really woof, you know. So I think they used the scenery and all the others. I think they used everything very well with everything.
Okay.
It was very interesting to watch everything and see everything, even the backgrounds, not just the fighting and everything.
Oh yeah, there was definitely some background scenery that was definitely worth seeing within the worlds of Star Wars. What about you, Krol? What did you think about the production value?
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I absolutely loved it. I know some people complain about CGI. I thought everything was done great. I loved all the scenery, the Kishick world. The Mustafar was definitely awesome. I mean, those lightsabers. I mean, like I said, the duels are one of the main reasons why it became my favorite Star Wars movie. And I mean, originally the duel between Luke and Vader was one of the reasons Return of the Jedi was my favorite. I really love lightsabers and the duels, and it's definitely I loved it. I love the production. I don't really have any complaints in the production area at all. Absolutely loved it all. Everything was beautiful, gorgeously done. All the sceneries, all the different planets. Genosis was done really well. I was kind of wondering where all the bugs were, the Genosian bugs. Didn't really see them much on Genosis. But that was just different story. It has nothing to do with the production. But yeah, I definitely thought the production was top notch.
I liked the production well enough. See, originally I had a problem with the how the descent into like we talked before the whole thing where all of a sudden he was just under master control.
Yeah.
The quick change artistry of being 1 minute this guy, another minute you're now Darth Vader, that kind of thing. To me, it should have been a gradual change.
Yeah, it was like he snapped his fingers and all of a sudden became evil and was under his control. He was under hypnosis or something. But he wasn't. So
brainwashing.
They definitely there was definitely somewhat of brainwashing. He got into his head. I wouldn't say brainwashing per se, but he definitely got it into his head. He'd been in his head since he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Which is how he was able to manipulate him. But still, the turn to especially the killing the younglings, like they definitely rushed that part too much. Like I don't think anything else they really rushed, but that to me definitely.
I think they were almost
was
afraid
rushed.
to do that because it's killing kids. I mean, it is a heart wrenching a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
but
I've seen a million memes, and now it's just kind of like people use it as a joke. But I think they use laughter to deal with the fact that he killed kids because it's so horrible that you have to put a spin on it to deal with it because he fucking kills kids. So like I always make the joke. It's like you didn't make me a master. Now I'm gonna go kill younglings. Or I sometimes I'll say I'm so mad I could kill younglings, like just to make a joke out of it because it was so horrific that
What-
you know.
but I did love the production and the special effects that dealt with
I don't think
anything. I loved how R2 could fly. R2 was like just the tip of the iceberg. I mean,
and the
to
only
me,
thing
anything dealing with R2 was awesome.
the only problem I have with it with R2 of all the stuff you could do was in the movies in the future, which were obviously made in the past, he didn't have that stuff, and why wouldn't he
Yeah, I
have
know.
all that stuff? And that was a big plot hole that I couldn't gloss over as much as I like to gloss over holes. That was one that immediately I was talking about because it's a huge thing, and actually a favorite of mine. And I'm like, if
Well, yeah,
he
he
could,
could do so much more in these
like
original
him being able to fly would have been certainly useful on Tatooine.
Well, he
When
did
they went back
fly
there.
in the Dagobah system.
He
He,
got because he got thrown. He got thrown, spit out from the monster that tried to eat him.
he still flew.
So yeah, he flew, but not on his own volition.
He
Um,
and he was also wasn't he also no, that was C3PO. He was floated up.
yeah,
But
I mean he flew in an X-wing.
that's right. He did fly in an X-wing. But he also
But yeah,
he
he
also
got able to.
floated when Luke was doing his mind stuff with Yoda.
Well, yeah, that was yeah, that was the Force telekinesis.
Yeah.
Um,
So in a sense, he did kind of fly, but for
well,
all
You
of
gotta
that,
remember,
none
every
of it
time
was
that
on his
they
own
clean him up,
volition. So
every time
doesn't.
that they clean him up and everything, I think every time they do where they say we'll clean him up and this, I think they add to him, and that's how he gets to do these other things. Is every time
But
he gets,
you're forgetting this is before. So he should have already had all that ability in the original movies. But of course, they hadn't thought of that yet. So they couldn't have had it in the original movies. But I'm just saying that made it a huge plot hole because this is R2 supposed to be in the past. And he's basically way more powerful in the past than he is in the future. He's
yeah,
a droid, so it's not like he gets old. So, I mean,
well, they
yeah.
didn't have they didn't have the parts to make him do that in the other movies.
Well, they should have. Well, they should have. Well, yeah, it's because they hadn't thought of it in those movies. I get that. But as far as story goes, it's a plot hole. It's a huge
yeah,
plot hole. There's no getting around that. I loved it, but it was a huge plot hole.
yeah, it was. I have to agree,
There's a
but I
lot of
love
them.
that. I
There's a
love
lot
that.
of like when Obi-Wan says, I don't ever remember owning a droid. Yeah, well, technically, he didn't own R2. It was Anakin's, but he definitely knew R2 and C-3PO. Now, C-3PO had his mind wiped, so that's why C-3PO might not know old Ben. Okay, but old Ben didn't have his mind wiped. He certainly should have known them. But then again, we do know that old Ben lies, so who knows?
All I know is
certain point of view.
I love all the extras with R2 and all his little noises and
Oh, I
everything.
agree. Well, he's always
Every
had
time he would do that little, like what would
Wow!
he's always had the noises. I mean,
but he did a lot of
A
it
lot
in this
more
movie.
in these movies. I think he did a lot more in these episodes than he
Especially
did
this one
in.
because I kept laughing every time he would do the
yeah, he definitely did. He does a lot in the books. I mean, obviously, you're reading what he says, but I definitely always hear R2 doing that when I'm reading. I have a great imagination, so probably love reading. I just found I took a long break from reading my Star Wars book. Basically, my Kindle died, and all my Star Wars books were on my Kindle, and I got a new Kindle, and I was just being lazy, and I didn't bother putting them on it. Once I fucking put them on yesterday, I couldn't find them anywhere. I'm like, all the sites that I used to go to download them, I couldn't find them anywhere.
I can
Um,
send you the
I
ones that I have.
finally found a, a free version to read them online
I'll
through
send you the
PDF.
ones that I
No,
have.
let me finish what I'm saying. Then I actually did find it. It took me 20 hours to download because it was every book and comic book, and the books were about 19 gigabytes. The comics, everything all together was 70 gigabytes. So it took me almost an entire day to download. So I did finally find them all. So I have them. Thank you. But yeah, so I found the book I was reading. I couldn't remember. I had to look. I couldn't remember what book I was reading. I couldn't remember where in the book I was reading, so I just started reading it from the beginning. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember this part, remember that part. So I'm reading. It's actually I thought I was reading the New Jedi Order. I am reading Legacies, which is the final installment of Legendaries at the end.
Okay.
I still have a bunch of books I need to read from the beginning because I started from the Thrawn trilogy. So I've never actually read the original movies or the prequels. I've never read any of the books, movies on books. So I have to do that eventually too. But where I'm at, like I said, is Legacy. It's the second book in the Legacy. So I'm getting close to the end. Boba Fett's in this one. He's like 70 something years old and he's dying. Of course, because I mean, he's a clone and 70 something years old. So the clone's not even supposed to live that long. So, well, no. Oh wait, no. Boba's but he never got the age acceleration thing. So, that's one thing. And in this story, he's trying to find he's looking for his daughter. He's met her before. She actually thought she killed him. Yeah. She killed a clone and thought it was him. She found out that he wasn't dead, but she took his ship that he had. It wasn't Slave One because it wasn't his ship. She took the clone's ship and his armor. But
well, getting back to production, I thought that the special effects were pretty good, especially when the fights happened with Yoda and the lightsaber fights at the end. So yeah, I thought it was a well-rounded film in the end. I mean, originally, like I said, I came at this from a negative point of view, and now I'm sort of neutral about
like everybody else.
I'm not quite like everybody else. I don't entirely hate the movie, and yet I don't entirely love it.
Well, nobody hates them anymore because now they get the sequels to hate. Now they love the sequels because they get the sequels to hate.
But what about the music? Did y'all enjoy the music to the film that John Williams put in there?
Are you from the South? You're not from the South. We say you all here, okay? I just hate that word. Absolutely hate it. Don't know why I do. But yeah, I love the music. I always love the music. John Williams is the composer. I mean, it's just the second you hear his music, his Star Wars music, it's Star Wars. Whether it's Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi or The Last Jedi or whatever you're watching, it's Star Wars because of the music. I mean, if somebody else is watching it, you hear that music, you know what they're watching. They're watching a Star Wars movie. It's
Tammy,
undeniable.
Did you hear any of the music and like any of it?
I thought it all went with the movie just great. Well, like Krol said, you could tell it's a Star Wars movie. I thought, it was for every scene or whatever it was, it went with it just fine.
Okay. Now I think we'll talk about yeah, our favorites. Krol, why don't you tell us a little bit what your favorite scene might have been if you could choose one.
Well, hands down, the lightsaber fight duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin. I mean, the duel between Grandmaster Yoda and Palpatine was definitely great as well. But I have to give the grand prize to the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan. I mean, I've been waiting my whole life for that fight, and it didn't disappoint. It was so well done. It definitely. I mean, you definitely see how Obi-Wan beat him, and Obi-Wan even warned him that he would beat him, and Anakin's cockiness, which is totally his character, was like, totally didn't like listen to Obi-Wan as always. He never listened to Obi-Wan, and this time it cost him. It almost cost him his life. I mean, it cost him from being a normal human being. I mean, if Fatima hadn't died, he wouldn't have been able to have sex with her again, anyways. He didn't have the parts, So I know that's the only thing in marriage, but just saying. He basically he's a droid. I mean, he basically he died. Like, I mean, I can see Obi-Wan's point that Anakin died because Anakin basically did die, and Darth Vader took his place, and yeah. So I do see that point of view. I mean, I don't agree with him saying that, but I get why he did.
Yep. Going over to you, Tammy. If there was a favorite scene that you could take from this particular movie, what would you take from it?
Well, I do definitely like the scene that Crow was talking about. That's one of my favorites. But I like it in the when the droids are bothering R2 and they're trying to grab him and everything, and he sprays them with the oil or whatever, and then he starts them on fire and he jumps back and he kind of like looks like, hey, look what I did. I thought that was great because little R2 just, he showed them. I thought that was a really neat scene because he just, when he, afterwards, he just kind of like looked at it. It's like if he had a face, it would be like, haha, look what I did. I
Yeah,
got you.
it's definitely an awesome scene. I definitely agree. It's
I
pretty
thought
cool.
that was neat. And I like the, one of the, I never remember the guy's name, the guy that I think is ugly.
Oh,
When he,
Oh,
Grievous.
Grievous.
yeah, when he's fighting Obi and he's got the four hands and he's making the lightsabers go like a helicopter,
Like Twirl, yeah.
and he's it's ripping up the floor and everything else, and it's just going crazy, and Obi's fighting him, and I thought that was so great because I just loved to see how great Obi really was to fight him like that. I thought that was a really good scene.
Okay. My favorite scene, if I had to choose, I have to choose two different ones. The first one has to do with thank you. Has to do with R2 when they're waiting in the hallway and he's like, I recommend patience, master, because R2 will be here in a moment, and suddenly he basically flies into the wall and he's like, oh, there he is. Now and Obi-Wan is like, well, I don't think we should wait on him. For some reason, there's some humor in there that I just literally enjoy. But the second one is when Yoda is actually fighting um, the Emperor or Chancellor Palpatine. When he's just throwing them those political seats at it, and that is just a fucking brutal. scene because he throws it right back at him, and he's jumping around like a frog, and it's just entertaining as fuck. But um, but yeah, those are my favorite scenes. So I think that's pretty much the end of this discussion. So um, I like I said, I'm neutral about the film. I know Krol, you love this film to death, and Tammy, what did you think about the film overall?
Um. Okay. Sorry. Um. I liked it overall. I mean, I like Star Wars. I'm not. Um.
An obsessed man.
I mean, yeah, I'm not like a totally obsessed fan. I just finally got some more of the Star Wars collection that I didn't have. But yes, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not something to where somebody goes, "Well, I want to watch this." I'm going to go, "Oh man, really?" No. So I did enjoy it.
Okay. So let's talk about who we are and what we like to do. So, Cole, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, my real name is Ron. I basically don't do much. I'm disabled, so I can't work, and so I watch movies, I watch TV shows, read books, play a bunch of games. I keep myself busy. I'm a multitasker, so I'm always doing more than one thing at once. Like doing this podcast, and I'm playing a bunch of games as well, 3 or 4. So I keep myself busy, keep my mind going. That's basically me in a nutshell.
All right. Hey, Tammy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, evidently, obviously, I'm Tammy. I'm David's fiance, and um, I've been trying to get into the podcast and everything because it's something that he really enjoys. So I'm trying to do something with him, and I do watch lots of movies myself, and I have certain things that I collect as far as movies. Like I really like the vampire slash Dracula, however you want to say it, stuff. I collect stuff in music because I'm a big Zeppelin fan. And in the summertime, my fun time is to go take my car out to the car shows, my 72 Grand Prix. So,
Alrighty, and my name is David Streggy. I'm one of the founding fathers of Inside Movies Galore, which is another podcast that we are all part of. But Delusions uh, is an opportunity to talk about other films that I don't get to talk about on that other podcast, and sometimes the apologies, the others on that podcast don't always entirely allow me to get my point across either. So I thought to start this with Philippe, and I miss Philippe because he missed out on today. But I wanted to show him all the different films that he probably couldn't get a hold of in his country because um, you know his country isn't that big on allowing films to be able to be seen in his country. So we started this uh, podcast together, and we love talking about anything from independent films on up to regular mainstream films. And we've added Krol, thank you, and
Thank you.
Tammy has joined us the last couple episodes, so thank you. Um,
yay.
but I think we enjoy the company together to talk, and I thought this was a decent episode, at least between the three of us. Hopefully, we gave it our all, and
Me by myself for about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes, Krol,
unfortunately.
thank you for keeping it alive.
I'm sitting there talking, going, I'm running out of things to say. I never run out of things to say.
And the funny
Well,
thing was, I could hear you and everything, but I couldn't come on yet. And I'm sitting here listening to you, so I'm like, okay, what can I say or when I get on? So because he's
yeah, I was going all over the place. I was talking about the sequel movies. I was talking about different characters. I mean, you
well,
know,
as you talked about R2, so as soon as I got on, I was like, yeah, R2.
well, yeah, that was the thing I was talking about when you guys, when I lost you guys.
I also on this channel tend to do my own video pickups of all the different films that I pick up and videotape what I pick up for you. And I also, from time to time, go and put my own thoughts out on films when I get a chance. So check out some of those viewpoints that I have out there. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, and morning, wherever you are. One of the things that I wanted to do before we got back into our curriculum of the Christmas season, well, actually, it's a start of the Christmas season. I figured next week, since we're still stuck in Star Wars universe, we will be talking about the Star Wars holiday special. So next
Which is
week,
not canon.
next week, Sunday, hopefully, if all things considered, we'll be going on about the Star Wars Christmas special. This time, it'll be on Delusions of Grandeur. We did it either last year or the year before on Inside Movies Galore, so check that out. But I figured this is a different crew and for that particular feature. So we'll have to see what and how we discuss it. So come on back for some more fun, and
And may
may
the
the force
force be with
be
you.
with you.